There's always conversations, discussions, heated at time of why Coturri wines are so different. And I'd really like to address that. I think there's two major issues that we have with the making of Coturri wine. One is the very organic approach that we take towards winemaking and grape growing, and the other one is choices that I make as a winemaker. On the agricultural side, properly grown organic or biodynamic fruit is going to be superior to conventional fruit. It's going to be a lot easier to work with. It's going to be cleaner in the barrel. It's going to be cleaner in the tank. We're not going to have as much sediment. We're not going to have as much breakdown. On the winemaking side, we've chosen not to add anything to the wine. So the natural yeast from the vineyard is what's used to vinify the wine. There's no sulfites of any other preservatives added. There's no yeast nutrients put in. That gives certain flavors to the wine that are a little bit different and maybe sometimes a lot different than other wines. The use of natural yeast really brings a powerful aroma and flavor to wine that people aren't used to. One of the real strong parts of our wines is what the French call terroir, the taste of place. We really try to give, as much as possible, the wines a sense that they came from a particular vineyard. And some years we have made upwards to 7 or 8 different Zinfandels, essentially the same rootstock, but growing in different places around the valley. The wines, while being very similar, are very different because of where they're growing. The other thing is how I choose to pick the grapes, when I choose to pick the grapes. What's the ripening of them? We tend to go for very ripe fruit, but always being very mindful of the acidity. I don't like I see wine as a food product, part of a diet. Food and wine and food should be synonymous. It should always go in the same sentence. If you're talking about one, you're talking about the other. The Italians have a saying, or actually a lifestyle, that you never eat food without wine, you never drink wine without food. And I think that's really what these wines that we're making are about. They have relatively high acid levels. They go very well with rich foods. They go very well with cheese. They go very well with a lot of foods. And given some time through aging, they mellow to some degree, but at the same time, they're very food-oriented. And I think sometimes people expect wines to stand by themselves and be drunk before a meal and after a meal and not with a meal. These wines really need to be drunk with a meal for the fullness of flavor and the attributes that wine brings to the table really need to be expressed with food and wine.